Hi there, it's Diane. Welcome to my basement. Today we are going to be learning about division with a remainder. So what is division? Remember that division is when you take a number and you divide it into groups. You put it into smaller groups and then you find out how many numbers are in each group. So division is sharing a quantity, which means like a number, among a certain number of equal groups. Sometimes the result of a division is not a natural number, meaning it just doesn't fit perfectly or evenly into the groups. There may be a remainder in the form of a fraction. This situation can be represented with base 10 blocks. For example, 271 divided by 2. Now we know there's going to be a remainder because when you take a number or a quantity and you divide it by 2, it only goes into groups evenly if our units column ends in a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. But here our units or our ones column is a 1. So we're going to have a remainder. So they represented 271 with base 10 blocks. 100, 200, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 1. 271. Now they want you to try to make two equal groups because we divide by 2. So they drew 2 groups, and they put 100 in this one and 100 in that group. Then they divided their tens. So they put 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, but they still have a 10 and a 1 left over. Well, you can always take the 10 and divide it into unit cubes. So we took the tens and we put 5 units in one group and 5 units in the other group. But we still have this 1 unit left over from the beginning, right? So what do you do when you have 1 cube left over? You can't just put it in one group because then the other group doesn't have anything. So what they're saying is you have to go back and remember about fractions. You take that 1, which equals 1 whole, and you divide it into 2 equal groups. So you take that 1 whole, you divide it in half, and then you put 1/2 in one group and 1/2 in the other group. So now each group has 135 and 1 out of 2, 1/2. Does that make sense? I think it's important that we review fractions a little bit. Remember that a fraction, the number on the top is the part, on the bottom number, which we call the denominator, so we have the numerator and denominator. So the denominator is how many whole pieces we have. So here we have 2 equal pieces, and I've shaded in one of the 2 equal pieces. So if I was to write 1 whole, it would be 2 out of 2. That equals 1. Remember when we talked about that? So here I've shaded in 1 out of 3 pieces. So 3/3 equals 1 whole. So over here we had 1 whole block and we divided it into 2 pieces. So 1 whole is actually 2 out of 2. And I've put 1 out of the 2 into this group and 1 out of 2 into that group. With this, I think we're just going to need to practice. Let's look at page page 25 in our book. So in our workbook on page 25, they offer a little more information. They say that 1 unit divided into 2 gives 1/2. But if we take a unit, remember a unit, and we divide it into 3, so we have 3 out of 3, you put 1/3 into each group. They want to go a little further, and they say, what if I had 4 groups? I'm dividing a number by 4, so we can take our rectangle, divide it into 4 equal groups. I'll try my best. 4 equal groups. And we shade in 1. So that is 1/4. But the whole unit is 4 out of 4. That's where we get our 1. So if I divide a number into 2, I get 1/2. If I divide a unit into 3 equal pieces, because I'm dividing by 3, I get 1/3. And if I'm dividing a number by 4, I get 1/4, because my whole is out of 4 pieces. Again, let's just try practicing, and I think it'll make more sense. Since we're already on page 25, let's look at E. E says they want to take the number 334 and divide it into 3 groups. Do you remember how when we divided a number, we said we can draw base 10 blocks, or you can do it different ways. So let's try with the base 10 blocks. You might know a different way to divide, and that's fine. Do what's most easiest for you. So we take 334, divide it into 3. 3 goes into, we can first make our 3 different groups. So now I have, looks like a creeper. So I have 3 different groups. So I have 3 in my hundreds column, so I can put 100, 200, 300. My tens, I have 3, so I can easily go 1, 2, 3. My units, I have 4, so I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, but I have 1 left over. Now look, I'm dividing my quantity, my number, into 3 equal groups. So I need to take that unit, my little unit, and divide it into 3 equal parts. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3. I'm going to divide it into 3 equal parts. So 1/3 will go into my first group, 1/3 goes into my second group, and 1/3 goes into my third group. Now, how much, or what is my quantity in each of our different groups? 334 divided into 3, I'm going to have 100, I'm going to have a 10, I'm going to have a 1, and a 1/3. So I'm going to add that up. 0 plus 0 plus 1, 0 plus 1 is 1, bring down my 1, add my third, because it's less than 1. So in each group, I have 111 and 1/3. Let's check our answer. And it is 111 and 1/3. Some of you might be like, well, how do you do that without drawing the base 10 blocks? You might have seen 334 like this, divided by 3. So your parents might help you at home and they say, okay, put the little X in the corner, because we remember that the opposite of division is multiplication. So if I go 1 here, 1 times 3 is 3. And I have no remainder, so I bring down my 3. 1 times 3 is 3. Subtract. Bring down my 4. 3 goes into 4. 1 time. 1 times 3 is 3. And I have a remainder of 1. You might have seen someone write remainder R1 like this before. R1. However, I want us to learn about fractions. So we're not going to put R1, which means remainder 1. We are going to say we're going to take that 1, but we're going to put it into 3 groups because I'm dividing by 3. So it's really 1 out of 3 groups. I'm dividing that 1 into 3 groups. So I have 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. So our answer is still 111 and 1/3. Let's turn to page 24. We're going to go a little bit backwards. I want us to do a little more practice. That's all. So we looked at dividing a quantity or a number into 3 equal parts. Let's check out dividing a quantity into 2 equal parts. So we have 227 divided by 2. You can just draw a line. So now we have 2 groups. 200, so we're going to put 100 in this group, 100 in this group. 20, put 1 in this, 10 in this group, 10 in this group. So 1 stick of 10. But now we have 7 in our units. So we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't put 7 evenly, so I just divide my last unit into 2 equal parts. So I have 1/2 and 1/2. So my total is 110 and 3.5. So that's 113 and a half. 113 and a half. Thumbs up if you think that's correct. Sometimes I make mistakes and that's okay. Let's see if it's correct. Yes, it's correct. 113 and 1/2. So last time you saw on page 25, it was 1/3 because the number that we were dividing by was a 3. So we had to take our unit and divide it into 3 equal groups. But now we're dividing our quantity by 2. So we had to take our unit that was left over and divide it into 2 equal groups. Are you ready for B? Let's check this out. So we have 67. We want to divide it into 2 equal groups. Let's draw our line this way. So, how many times? Remember that we have to start in the highest value when we're dividing. That was different than when we add, subtract, multiply. We always start with our units column. But remember, when we're doing division, we start with the column with the highest value. So here we have to start in this with the 6. It's our tens column. It's a little different, but you just have to remember, all right? So, how many times does 2 go into 6? Or if we were to take the 6 and divide it into 2 equal groups, well, let's count. 10. I go back and forth to each group so that I make sure I have enough. So I go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So it equaled. Now I'm at 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, I have 1 unit left over. I'm dividing it by 2. So I take my unit and I split it into 2 equal parts. And I put 1 in each group. So here I should have, looks like a lot of exclamation points, doesn't it? So here I should have 10, 20, 33 and 1/2. 33 and 1/2. And that is correct. 67 divided by 2 is 33 and 1/2. Do you want to see it the other way? Just to double check, we can take 67 and divide it into 2 equal groups. I put my little multiplication symbol there. What number times 2 is 6? I know that's 3. 3 times 2 is 6. Subtract, I have 0 remainders. Now I bring down my 7. How many times does 2 go into 7? Well, it doesn't perfectly, but I know that 3 times 2 is 6 with 1 left over. So I take that 1 left over and I divide it into 2 equal groups. So look, if I have 1 left over, I divide it into 2, and each group gets 1/2, and this group will get the other half. So I can divide it. So I get 33 and 1/2. It would help if you could see my paper, wouldn't it? All right. Let's do a little challenge. I know you're ready to do your workbook pages, and that's spectacular. Let's do a little word problems here. I want to look at this book. Okay, so this says, solve each problem, show your work. Greg has 339 marbles. Ooh, I wonder where he keeps all those marbles. My goodness. He has 3 times as many marbles as Kelly. So if Kelly has 1, he has 3. If Kelly has 2, he has 6. If Kelly has 3, he has, anyone? 9. Yes, he has 3 times as many. Well, we know that Greg, my little stickies, can you see? We know that Greg has 339 marbles. Greg. Label everything. It's great for to go back so you know where you're getting your numbers from. Greg has 339. He has 3 times as many as Kelly. How many does Kelly have? How are we supposed to know how many marbles Kelly has? That's our question. What would you do to find out? Do you remember when we did our little triangles? This will help you. So we did part whole. Let's say I had a triangle like this. So if I gave you the number 10, I'm going to make it 12 actually. If I give you the number 12, and I put multiplication here, and I put division here, I would put 4 and 3. Now watch. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And 12 divided by 4 is 3. They're like a family. Or you can say part, whole. The opposite of division is multiplication, or the inverse. A lot of people like to say the inverse. And the inverse of multiplication, you can do division. Just meaning that these three numbers, they work out where 4 times 3 is 12, 3 times 4 is 12, 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. So, with that in mind, we know Greg, we're just going to use bigger numbers now. We know Greg has 339 marbles. So our triangle is going to look something like this. Greg is going to have 339 marbles, and he has 3 times as many as Kelly. So we're trying to find out 339 divided by 3 is Kelly's number, and Kelly's number times 3 is going to equal Greg's number. So all you have to do is divide 339 by 3. Go ahead and make your 3 groups. So you have your 3 groups. Now you have 300. So we go 1, 2, 3. You go to your tens column. You have 30. So 10, 20, 30. And now you have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It works out evenly this time. Great. It would be pretty hard to divide a marble into thirds. So we're pretty lucky it worked out that way. Now the question is, how many marbles does Kelly have? Did we solve that? Let's look. 100 plus 10 plus 3 is 113. 113. So if each group had 113 in it, if we were to add them up, then let's see. 113. I love Post-its. Okay. 113 plus 113 plus 113. 369. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 339. So Greg has 1, 2, 3 times as Kelly if Kelly has 113. Kelly has 113 marbles. Great. Do you think you could do B? It's the same idea, but we're going to use pages in a readathon. Let's check this out. Oliver has read 829 pages for a readathon. Hey, way to go, Oliver. Oliver has read about 4 times as many pages as Kyle. That's okay, Kyle. You do your best. About. Ooh. When you see the word about it means it's not going to be perfect, so we'll probably have a remainder. About how many pages has Kyle read? How are we going to do this? Well, we need to know the information we have. We know that Oliver has read 829 pages. Yay, Oliver! I wonder what book he read. If you had to read 829 pages, what book would you choose to read? I like a choose your own adventure. Those are so much fun. All right, so Oliver read 829 pages for his readathon. He read 4 times as many as Kyle. So 4 times Kyle. About how many pages has Kyle read? So we need to know how many pages has Kyle read? That's our question. If you want, go ahead and pause. Go back, see if you can answer this. Once you're ready, press play again, and you'll see how I solved the problem. You might have solved it a different way. That's cool. Discuss it with someone and explain how you solved it. All right, so this is how I solved it. I took 829 pages and I divided it into 4 different groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. I start in my hundreds column because that's the column with the highest value. 8. So I have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800. I took 829. I divided it into 4 equal groups. So far I have 200 in each group. Ooh, 20. I cannot divide 20 evenly into all these groups. So I'm going to have 2 sticks. I'll just have to do units, won't I? So I'll take my 29 and I'll turn these into units. So I have 10 units here and 10 units plus another 9 units. Do you see how I have that? I took my 20, I divided it into 10 equal parts, right? And then I have my 9 from my units column. So I have to take my 29 and count them out. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and I have to take my last unit that's left over and divide it into 4 equal parts. So I'm going to put 1/4 here, 1/4 there, 1/4 there, and 1/4 there. So I have 200 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 207, and my 1/4. Don't forget your 1/4. Someone else might have done it a little differently. They might have taken 829 divided by 4. Put their little X there. That means multiplication. 2 times 4 is 8. Bring down my 2. What number? Take 4, and what number times 4 is 2? There's no number times 4 that equals 2. So we have to put a 0. 0 times 4 is 0. 2 take away 0 is 2. Bring down their 9. What number times 4 is 29? 4 times 7 is 28. Subtract, and I have 1 left over. Remember, when you have 1 left over, you have to divide it into 4 equal parts. So it is 207 1/4. Now the question, you have to go back to the math problem. The math problem was about how many pages has Kyle read? Kyle read about 207 pages. Kyle read about, that means to estimate, about 207 pages. He read 207 1/4, or a quarter, pages. Great! So now that we've done that, go ahead, back into your workbook, try some division with remainders, and stay curious. I'll see you next time. Bye.